We are away. Beautiful. Good evening, everyone. Looks like we're coming through loud and clear. Let's bring up that chart again. Let's have a look at Bitcoin while we give everyone a minute to tune in. Clear off all that clutter and have a look at that for a day. $10,000 in 24 hours we did, from 38 to 48,000. Amazing stuff, all off the back of Elon. So we'll get into all of that. We'll give everyone a little minute to tune in, and I'm going to talk about what I'm seeing going on in the market. And how about we bring up the Wall Street cheat sheet just to remind everyone. Let's see if we can find a large, good quality version of this one. And I'm sure you can all hear Louis in the background as well. There we go. There's a good quality one. Beautiful. Okay. So I will keep an eye on all your questions and comments as they come in live over here. Do you say echo? Or does it sound good? No, sounds good for most people. $1,800 ETH. Let's bring up ETH. Something else we're going to talk about. This idea of the money rotating between all the different coins and alts. And ETH's on another little tear. The DeFi index looks like it wants to make a new high. It doesn't care what I think. It doesn't care that it's gone up 1,000% in a few months. And hey, Dogecoin. Maybe Dogecoin doesn't care either. Maybe that's just going to keep going. So these are the things that we're going to be watching. Together, maybe we break 50,000 on the live stream. But I'm being mindful. So this is why I wanted to do the video, because let's just put things in perspective of how far we've come, how fast. Let's go over to my other chart, my clean, simple chart for you guys. A bit easier to see. Less lines, less clutter. Now, that's a little bit better. That's kind of what I want to look at. This idea of the Wall Street cheat sheet shape. And you tell me where you think you are when we're talking about this whole video. Particularly, I'm a genius. Forget trading. We can all retire. Should start a paid group. All right. So what I'm being mindful of is, in the past, in other markets, you've got to be cautious about when things are as good as they can get. And right off the bat here, I'm going to say it at the start, I think we're a lot closer to a top or a big throwback than anyone's giving credit for. And I did a big write-up for members about this morning, because we've just gone up $10,000 in 24 hours and funding rates are through the roof. I don't think they've ever been this high, to be honest. Let's have I got my neobutane funding there as well? Yes, beautiful. So let's bring this up. Let's just change these colors a little bit so you guys can see that a little bit better. Make that black, nice thick. We'll make the other one bright red, nice and thick. We might even make that a bit of an area chart. Okay, how's that? Does that stand out enough? So what we're looking at down the bottom here is the premium and the funding rate. And what this tells you at the moment is that we're right up at about 0.21. So this is the interest rate that margin traders are paying to borrow money to leverage long. And this is the highest it's been, I'm pretty sure, I want to say since the top since the top in June 2019. since here when we had that huge run up from 4,000 to 14. But it's at an extreme. So it's starting to get pretty overstretched. And when we're at this kind of point in time where we've just gone up $10,000 in 24 hours, don't forget we've also gone up from, remember when we broke 10,000 and we finally took off? That was only in October. Then we got through the odd time highs, December. That's only 2 months ago. And here we are at 50. So if you were telling people back here during the March flash crash, $4,000, hey, do you think Bitcoin could go to $50,000 and the chart would look like this? People would say, no way. And yet here we are, and then people keep moving the goalposts and keep saying, well, I think we can go to 100,000 now. And I guess the message I really want you to think about here is we need to be realistic sometimes, and particularly when everyone's on one side of the boat. On-chain analysis is actually telling us that things are pretty good, pretty healthy. Hodlers aren't sending coins to exchanges in any huge amounts just yet. What Will and I spoke about, though, in last week's mining episode is that miners are. Miners are selling all their coins. They're selling the coins not only that they mine, but all the coins that they've accumulated to pay for the new round of latest hardware and all the costs for the new cycle as well. So that's all well and good. That was being absorbed by a lot of the big OTC desks and the corporates. And remember, even something as big and as powerful and as bullish as Elon, it's already happened. So this Bitcoin's already been bought. If you're a big corporate, look, it excites retail investors. I completely understand that. But if you're a big corporate, you don't read that news and go, oh, wow, I've got FOMO. I've got to buy today. Markets are up 1,000%. It's up $10,000 since yesterday. We've got to rush out and buy today. Those big smart money, a lot of them are going to look at this chart and say, we'll wait for a pullback. We can start to hedge some positions. We'll maybe take a little position, but we'll use options around it. We might buy some futures or whatever, so we've got some exposure. But I just don't think that they're going to rush in and buy a parabolic chart. That's not how they tend to operate. So I want to give you another example here of an extreme in the gold market back in 2015 when everyone was bearish. You just couldn't find people that wanted to hold gold, and there was articles going around calling it a pet rock, and you just sort of think, man, can it get much worse for the gold market? And that point when everyone was on the same side of the boat is what marks the bottom. Everyone has positioned themselves to not like gold. They don't have it in the portfolio, apart from the true believers and gold bugs that are always there. So you've only got room for more people to join the market. Now, in the Bitcoin market at the moment, you start to think in terms of the time frame. So look, long term, still 100K, maybe $1 million, super long term. But in terms of, well, how good can it possibly get in the current time frame? What are your realistic expectations when we've just run 1,000% in under a year? We've just had this huge pump. We've got corporates on board, S&P 500 companies. We've got all these fund managers. It's become a real asset class. We've got exchanges dropping off because they've got record number of signups. So this is what it felt like in December 2017. And a lot of the big smart money picked up the slack, so we haven't felt the same level of, I think, euphoria on social media per se. But remember, retail coming into the market, it's a very different thing for them to keep the market propped up at $47,000 Bitcoin than in 2017 when they're coming in and buying Bitcoin at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,000, whatever, all the way up. This is a very big market cap of unrealized gains. So I might touch on Tornado Cash later. Well done to those of you that got the airdrop. This is like worth $20,000. Those of you that use the Tornado Cash app. Anyway, market cap getting up towards $1 trillion. Very few people have taken profit, as we know, from on-chain. So some people, sooner or later, it doesn't matter what market it is, if you invested 100 grand and all of a sudden you're sitting on 500 grand, people are going to start to take profits in some way, shape, or form. Doesn't matter what asset it is. The same goes for ETH. Look, I do think that ETH almost tapped 2,000 last night on Binance. 80% of last week's institutional crypto inflows, was this according to CME Futures or CoinShares, are coming into Ethereum. So yeah, Grayscale as well. Big money, it's coming in. But just, I really want my message to be, don't do anything stupid here. Now's not the time to be going crazy with leverage longs or anything like that. Now's the time to be realistic and just say, hey, when I was in this position in 2017, I promised myself I'd take some profits. 2017 isn't even a blip on the radar. Remember we used to joke about how this huge parabolic move, it would look tiny. It would look like these old ones from back in years past. And sure enough, here we are, where that big parabolic move doesn't really look like much now. So is the top definitely for Bitcoin? I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball. I've got to look at the on-chain data and take it one step at a time. The length of this sort of move that we've had, it does suggest that going to 60, 70 or 80K, who knows? Maybe we do just go straight to 100K in the next few weeks. But having seen a lot of markets and a lot of bubbles, whenever you start to say it's different this time, it's Bitcoin, when all these signals are just lining up, particularly the funding rate, even if it's just short term and we have a sharp snapback just to wash out those, that would make me a lot happier. But until these things change, I think the market's starting to get a little bit too one-sided, and it can all change very quickly when people start to take profits. So, hey, that's your friendly reminder that markets go up and they go down. The same with altcoins. I don't want to harp on about it, but you guys know the drill. Some of these charts, some of the cycles that we've spoken about, money will go into Bitcoin. That'll move first. It did, and then we said money will rotate into ETH and it'll play catch up, and it did. Large cap coins, money will flow to where it's treated best. People still didn't believe me. Things like Litecoin would break back and make these multi-year highs. The large cap players, Binance Coin, man, oh man, this was only like $50 literally a few days ago at the start of the week, and it's up towards 100. Cardano, amazing run. Remember when this was a couple of cents? All of a sudden it's 70 cents. So let's be realistic with our expectations. If you've positioned yourself well, these things have had incredible moves. There's no doubt. I'm getting messages from people saying that they've made life-changing amounts of money. So if you're out there thinking that it's going to be easy and everyone is going to get rich, the market's just going to go to new all-time highs on every coin you hold, it's going to be nice and easy for you to sell, it's all going to be roses. That's not how these markets work, guys. The other thing I'll mention is some of the just like ridiculousness we're seeing on social media, Twitters and YouTubes. One person says, my target for ETH, 10,000, that's my long-term target. Maybe even I'm getting a little bit too overexcited. Remember when I spoke about 2,000 being my realistic target? That I would rather give you realistic targets that I definitely think we can hit than anything else. So we got up towards 2,000 last night on Binance. But then the next video someone will make, it's 20,000, that's 50,000, that's $100,000 ETH. The same with Bitcoin. And it's become a bit of a joke, and I know I'm mates with a lot of these guys and they joke about it, but seeing who can pull the most ridiculous face before each YouTube video each day, seeing who can just have the biggest target on different altcoins. Investing is just not that easy, and these markets, if you've been here in the depths of crypto winter, they teach you humility. These markets can take everything from you, and we've had, unfortunately, people that we know that did lose everything, and even people throughout the past few years that we've known in crypto that have, that are not with us anymore. I think a dose of reality is sometimes needed when things are just going this crazy, and there's this rush of new people into the space just thinking they're going to get rich. A lot of entitlement I've started to notice, which is not what we've traditionally had in our group, the premium group, at all. There's a lot of people in there always respect each other. Just people expecting to make thousands of dollars every day, expecting you to tell them exactly what happens next and hold their hand. It's about doing hard work, guys, putting in the hours yourself. You're never going to get every call right. You're never going to get every airdrop. And people are sort of getting almost angry that, oh, you didn't tell me about that one, or I missed that one. Don't worry about that. Just try and get as much as you can right, and stick to all our rules, and you're going to make a lot of money. You should have made a lot of money by now. So, look, if you're a long-term holder, this isn't a necessary sell at all. It's probably a take some profits if you've done really well and you're getting greedy. That's what I want this to be, because it can just be, as I said, a sharp 30-40% snapback that's over within a couple of days before you even know it. It might be something, we've just had a pretty extended 30-day retracement, and now Bitcoin's had this big move. But I'm just always cautious when we go so fast. And people are piling in. And it's very clear from these numbers that people are piling in margin longing at the moment. So, look, that's a bit of a rant from me. I'll have a look at a few of the questions and comments. But just have a look at that chart, how much people are paying to leverage long when these things have already gone vertical. Particularly Dogecoin. Where are we with Doge? Where was this before? It's come down a little bit. Some people were paying like 1%. 1% hourly to leverage long. I think you're crazy if you're doing that. That's the little fella. He's not having much luck there, going to sleep. Ethereum breaking out through 1800. And it's having a strong bounce after this little sell-off. So maybe we are going to see that money rotate out of Bitcoin after this monster run back into ETH, which a lot of people think is going to be the outperformer throughout this year. So guys, I don't want to keep you too long. I don't want the crying baby to distract you. I'm going to wrap it up there. Have a good night. Stay safe. Let's keep the conversation going for members in their thread about what you think. But just please be cautious out there. When we've gone vertical and everyone's getting greedy, don't be afraid to go for a walk, take a deep breath, and do the right thing. Stick to your plan. Cheers.